right, so welcome everyone. We are very glad that you came this Saturday and that you could be here with us, and that together we can learn what God is doing in Romania and meet our special guest, Dorotea. And Dorotea, she is from Romania. And so that's very, very East Europe. Sometimes we would say that maybe it's Balkan or East, but we will let Dora explain it to us. And Romania, it might be in the East, but Dora is joining us live from the future since you have 6 p.m., right, at the moment?
Yeah.
Yes, so Dora is in the future in Romania, so I hope that
Yeah.
it's very bright, the future there, because in Czech Republic it's not so nice today. Mhm. And Dora, she is living in Cluj. That's the second largest city of Romania. It is in the west north part of the country, and it is second largest city, and it is large IT hub. So you can imagine it's something like Silicon Valley of the Romania. So you have many IT positions, IT jobs, and also it's a very large university and student town. A few weeks ago, we spoke with Dora about plans for next year. So, in a few weeks, you will learn from us the dates about the vision tour, and it will also include coming and seeing Dora in person, and it will be next September. But yeah, we will inform you about the dates. Hank, firstly, can you explain Dora's position and what is the connection of her church, Via Church, with 4D Ministries?
Um, okay, then we have to go back about 50 years now. But soon after the revolution, we helped the publishing house get started, and then we also wanted to help youth ministry, which was forbidden in the churches, be introduced in the churches, and especially relational youth ministry, because they came out of a very totalitarian period, not just in government and secular society, but also in the church. And so the youth really needed relational ministry to make it attractive and meaningful. And we asked Ray to translate a book. That was really our first connection with him. He had just graduated as an engineer and had started youth ministry in his church because he said we never had it, and so now the kids cannot be deprived anymore. And so he started to translate the book, and then when it was almost finished, we said, well, was any of that help to you yourself? He said, well, everything. I just apply it, and then he said, and we also would like to translate some other manuals for youth workers. And so there was a whole series of additional things. And then he said, oh, we would like to have a training conference for youth workers from all over the country. And all denominations and I said, that's very interesting. I wasn't quite sure what he was talking about, and I'm not sure that he knew what he was talking about. But I said, where are you going to have it? And he says, oh, in my apartment. And so then I was even more confused. And then I said, how many invitations did you send out? He said, oh, 13. And I said, huh. And how many of them do you think will come from different parts of the country? Oh, he says, all 13. And when it all was over, I think there were just a little over 20 people that came. And that I don't know where they stayed and how they managed, but they did it, and they had volunteers from the youth group crank out more copies of some of the resources that they had produced, and it was just Ray's beginning in terms of ministry, not just being locally, but also nationally. And for many years, he had a real significant impact, and he continues to have that throughout the country. And um, and then about 7, 8 years ago, he says, "Well, we're going through some issues in our church, and there is the question of starting a new church." And he says, "What would you think of that?" And he said, "Well, why would you do it?" He said, "Well, we really like to make it a model that others can see and follow. So not just a good book, but a good model." And so they started the church, and now Dora can give us an update what the church is like, and they called it VIA. That stands for road, but it also stands for divine. And I think divine is especially Jesus Christ. But that's basically the beginning of VIA. And then they started small groups, and they started to have youth ministries and children's ministries. And all those small groups had a missional focus. And so they uh, yeah, they said um, they already had some youth camps, and then we said, well, let's see what you can do to encourage others as well. And I think it Dora is the best person to say where it went from there. Um, but it's been an amazing journey in just a few years, and we don't know. We have some ideas how it exploded as it did. Uh, it, God has a lot to do with it. And I think also the fact that 4D doesn't want to keep tight control of everything or even put his name label on those camps, that we say we empower local churches to have ownership and also to contribute and also model it within their country. And cultures in Romania differ very much too. If you are in a town that's 2 or 3 thousand people large, or you're in a university city, they are worlds apart. And they have different problems, different issues, and different needs. And so, Dora, I hope I didn't tell the whole story. uh, what has happened since 20 years ago?
Mm-hmm. Thank you for the introduction and for giving the background, because even I have learned something new that what I didn't hear or read before. Yes, so really we appreciate the
Yeah,
background and what is all behind of the decades and decades of partnership with Rei Abrudan and his wife Ramona and the Via Church and Via Institute. So
yeah.
Dora, before we dive into the ministry, some people see you for the first time. Could you please briefly introduce yourself and what is your position in the church?
Sure, thank you, Gabriel, and thank you, Hank, for reminding me how many years
Mhm.
have gone by already since Via Church started. So I was born and raised in Alba Iulia, about 100 kilometers away from Cluj-Napoca, and I came here to study psychology almost 20 years ago. I'm currently employed at Via Church. I work as a coordinator of several departments. I'm also running several departments, a young professionals department and the parenting department. I have a son, a 9-year-old son, and we are very much into soccer in this phase of our lives.
Mm.
And so we are watching the games that take place now in the US. It's this the Cubs championship. I don't know, in Miami, Florida. So yeah, we know what's going on over there. Um, And 2 years ago, I started school again. I'm training in family psychotherapy, and it's something I'm really excited about. Um, I think this would be
Mhm.
a brief introduction of myself. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Firstly, Martina prepared two questions that are very personal on you. So the first question is, what's your favorite Romanian food that you think that everyone should try at least once?
Well, if you haven't heard of sarmale yet, it's this stuffed cabbage rolls with
Mhm.
minced meat.
Yeah.
You should try that sometime when you come to the Vision Tour next
Mhm.
year. Um, and another choice would be polenta with sausages, fried eggs, and pickles. And I think I know a few places where I could take you next year.
Sounds good. If you could become instantly an expert in something, what would it be and why?
I think it would have to do with neuroscience because I'm really passionate and interested about the interaction between the mind and the body and the intersection of these two. And I'm especially interested in the impact of our emotional life over our physical health. And yeah, I would love to be an expert on that.
I think that those topics are very forbidden, and even in Czech Republic, this is something that, yeah, we don't talk about emotions and all of this damage. Yeah, that's a no.
Yeah, it has to do with our Eastern European culture. So
Yes.
you're in the same boat, Gabriel.
Mhm. Thank you for sharing. Could you please share with us how you became a Christian?
Well, I was 15 years old when I came in Cluj-Napoca with a bunch of teenagers from our church. There was a conference here in Cluj, and I remember sitting on my chair and listening to the sermon, and the preacher just went on and on, very passionate about the person of Jesus Christ. And it was for the first time when I heard a man speaking about Jesus Christ as he was really a real person that he met.
Mhm.
And it was really, he pictured him as the most beautiful person in the universe. And I remember thinking that, wow, I really want to know this Jesus personally and be this passionate about him as the man in front of me
Mhm.
who's preaching. So that was the moment that I decided that this is the road for me, and I want to spend the rest of my years in church and serving Him.
Mhm. And did your family have some religious background, like from the Orthodox Church?
My family my parents were Baptists or
Mhm.
Christians, and my grandparent was a pastor in a village near Alba Iulia.
Mhm.
So I had all the background and the safety net I would need.
Mhm.
So maybe you will also become a preacher in the future, in the next years.
Not in Romania, no.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we appreciate the overview of the ministry work and the different departments that you're involved, because it sounds like you have many hats. And with us, you have the head of being coordinator, national coordinator of the camps. And something, I'm not sure if you have mentioned the internship program today. Could you share about this program with us?
Yeah, so before that, I would just mention that
Mhm.
I started working with Rei in 2010, so 20 years, yeah, 15 years ago,
Mhm.
starting as a volunteer in the youth group, then becoming the secretary of the Baptist church we were part of at that time. And I've been part of the initiative group that started Via Church 10 years ago. In November, it will be 10 years. Currently, as I mentioned, I'm running the parenting and the young professional department. I'm in charge with organizing the events of the church, including city breaks, different tours, anniversary events, special occasions events. I'm also in charge of the communication department, internal and external. And as you mentioned, I'm the coordinator of the Ambassadors Together program. In kind of as part of this or related to this Ambassadors Together program, it's the internship program you mentioned, where graduates, but not necessarily graduates from the Theological Institute. We have two theological institutes here in Romania. But we reach out to them, those who do not have a church to serve in yet, and we give them the opportunity of serving a year hands-on ministry in our church. And then we either recommend them further to other churches in Romania, or sometimes we hire them. And we already had 5 or 6 interns that were part of our ministry here, that learned a lot being part of Via Church and overseeing and seeing how things work here. And then they left, or we also have 2 person in the staff that started as interns several years ago. So this would be the internship program.
And now it's your, I think, is it 3rd year or 4th year of having the internships?
Yeah, 3rd year.
Third year.
Yeah. So graduates, but not necessarily graduates, people who want to serve in the local church, who have this passion and this desire to be part of the church. And sometimes we see them rising from different youth groups or different ministries we hear about from other churches. And they are recommended for us. Sometimes we just discover them by partnering with so many churches in Romania.
And
Andrea, can I have a question?
Yes.
Dora, I was wondering if maybe you could share why there is the need for the internship program. You mentioned that like they don't have the churches to be part of after they graduate, or like at the beginning of maybe them being pastors. So like what's the situation there and why there is the need for it?
Well, the senior pastors usually are not very enthusiastic when it comes to working with younger people or training the younger generation of pastors. And we do have young people that are going to study theology in the institute, but they don't have any open doors to churches where they can go and serve, because usually a pastor is going to be a pastor until he retires, and he is used to doing things as he learned, and is not really motivated to work with other people, with younger people, and expand his team of pastors in the local church. And so it was an idea of trying to help the younger generation, I don't know, just learn how to do things in a real setting and in a real church, facing the problems of a real church, and then using that experience of 1 year working in Via Church having that experience and using it to maybe serve in where God sends them or calls them. I don't know if this answers your question very well.
Sure, yeah. I'm wondering if maybe like after the program, when they are part of it for a year, are the churches or the pastors, the senior pastors, more open to working with them? Or
Yes, because they already gained some experience, and some of them are, I don't know, they are not very open to this idea because they know that this person doesn't have an experience. What do they know? They don't know to do anything, or they didn't prove anything yet. So if they got a chance to gain some experience, then they have better chances in finding their place.
Also, let me add one thought. In the US, it's very normal for people that go to seminary to have had one or two jobs in a secular or some kind of an environment before, where in Europe, very often, it's going to seminary instead of going to university. And so it's, yeah, you come out of that with wonderful knowledge, but not with a lot of experience. So the internship becomes very, very important because it's not so much like, okay, what's the theory, but what's the practice and how do I assimilate that in my life and in my ministry?
Yeah, exactly.
And models is really the key word. It's over and over. People would say, pastors would say, well, I'm not interested in another book, but where can you show me a model that I can copy for ministry? Something that works within a culture that I'm in.
Mhm.
So a model from Texas would not be the best model for a village church in Romania.
Yes. Mhm. Dora, so what happens to the graduates that don't end up being pastors?
They usually are searching for another job in
Mhm.
a secular field, and then continue to volunteer in churches until a spot opens or another opportunity opens in front
Mhm.
of them.
Yes.
But
So,
they
for
have
example,
to
like Uber. Mhm. Yeah.
not necessarily,
No.
but yeah, constructions maybe I've
Mhm.
heard of this. Yeah.
Mhm. And how much does it cost a year for like to pay for one graduate to be on your internship?
500 USD per month or something like
Mhm.
this.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
6,000 a year. Mhm.
yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Especially in Cluj, where all things are much more expensive than in the rest of our country,
Yes. Mhm.
including rent and food and Uber.
Mhm.
okay,
Yes. Mhm.
one more question for me. One last, I promise. It's about after the program, the graduates become part of your internship for a year. How do you search for, or how do you help them search for the church where they can go? Do you use the network of churches that you have, or you already have maybe some churches that are involved in this internship program that are like more open towards it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the revitalization program and network helps a lot because we know about each other's needs, and we know the people that serve in different churches, so we know where our intern would best fit in. And we either recommend them directly, or in some other cases, the intern has already made some contacts and has some ideas about the church he would like to serve in, and he reaches out directly to the church. And we just add a recommendation to that and a phone call maybe, and things just settle in some way from there.
Yes. So it is very
Yeah.
tied closely together with your network of the pastors and churches, right?
Yes.
In
Yes.
Romania. So with this network, you are also running the Momentum conference. Is it correct?
Yes.
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 Can you share with us about the conference that you had this spring?
Yes, so in March we had a 3-day conference for church leaders in Romania, and we had more than 400 participants from over the country.
Mhm.
The first edition was last year in Oradea, and it was the initiative of the revitalization network we developed. Before that, we held conferences that were smaller for 70 or 80 pastors. And as soon as the word came out that we are doing this, we are creating these contacts, well, the feedback and people asked us, well, why don't you do this for all church leaders, not just for the pastors, because the whole staff could benefit from a conference like this. And so we came up with this 3-day conference where we do workshops, we do meetings with the whole group, and we just approach different angles and subjects that relate to each of the ministry that is usually part of a church. Um, we started with the idea that collaboration is better than competition.
Mhm.
And as as the church, we are looking for ways to collaborate and work together for the same purpose, for the kingdom.
Mhm.
And we think that by working together, we could have a greater impact than working separately, or than being in competition with one another.
Mhm.
So this year we got a lot of great feedback after the conference. People were really encouraged. A lot of them, I heard they went back to their churches and implemented ideas and different models of how we presented Life Church, and it was really a great resource for all churches that participated at this conference.
Mhm. That's wonderful. It really reminds me of what Hank is saying when he will share about Via Church, that yeah, they could be building, like they could be having like a bigger building, or they could be building 80 churches around Romania and empowering others to, yeah, just to spread the kingdom and to reach people. Yeah, so it's, yeah, wonderful what you're doing. Yeah.
And if you would have a bigger church and a bigger church and a bigger church in Cluj, then all the pastors in Romania, not maybe all, but many pastors would be jealous
Mhm.
and would be antagonistic.
Mhm.
And now they say, you really want to help us, please come and to help us,
Mhm.
tell us. And in the end, it's all about God's kingdom.
Yes. Mhm.
Okay, can I ask, Dora, so I think most of the churches or many churches in Romania are Orthodox, right? And so you mentioned there are many like pastors coming throughout the whole country. Do you have like an idea of like how much pastors from the Orthodox churches participate, and if you know they are open to learning more about like different perspectives, or how is the Orthodox Church uh, part of it?
Well, the Orthodox Church is not part of it because it goes against the evangelical churches in Romania. The Orthodox church and religion here is the dominant one. Most of the people of Romania people are Orthodox, and the evangelical people are a minority here. There are also Catholics. Also, Catholics and Orthodox don't go well together, and they have separate and different um, target groups, but there is not much collaboration between. We started building some bridges between Via Church and the Orthodox churches here in Cluj by using the Young Professionals Ministry, where we create these contacts, these series of events where we talk about a lot of subjects that are of interest for 25-year plus young adults. And we had several meetings on this gap between religions in Romania, and how we could better start a dialogue, and how we could partner, not stumble upon each other's toes. But these are just, I don't know, 1 or 2 events during 1 or 2 years, but nothing much really happens besides that. We actually had many cases of inviting some priests from the Orthodox Church over to one of our events at Flux, and the highest priest over the priests in Cluj, they banned them for responding to our invitations. So it's not really an open door there.
I'd like to say something too along that line. During the communist years, we were in very close contact with an evangelical lay movement that was started by a priest that was more persecuted than the evangelical churches. But they were illegal, and I've met triandors and other leaders in the movement in those days. We did some projects together. But when freedom came, then the Orthodox Church banned anything that was outside of their hierarchical control. So they're very territorial. And one of their basic beliefs is that they are God's church, and if you want to have salvation, you have to belong to the Orthodox Church and pay your dues, by the way. So there is, from a hierarchy, there is no desire to learn something from or with the evangelical wings, where in other churches, like there's a lot more openness, for instance, within the Catholic Church in Slovakia or Poland than there is within the Orthodox Church in Romania or Russia, unless they do it very secretive and can run being thrown out. So it's not, it's really and for a lot of people, it's more, they just want to be in good standing with the church as an institution than with Jesus Christ as their Savior.
Yes, and I would add that for an authentic Orthodox Christian here in Romania, the greatest sin is to change your religion and to get baptized in another religion. So it's really a very huge deal to be Orthodox and then looking at some other cults or evangelical cults, because they would be persecuted in their Orthodox families or churches and communities.
Mhm. Yes, it reminds me of a testimony from you, Dora, from last summer from a camp, and we will move to camps very quickly. And the testimony was from a camp leader, and I think it was about that some Orthodox priest that he called police and the social services to check on the camp, right? If if they can even have it in the summer.
Yeah, yeah.
Fortunately,
Mhm.
those are exceptions, but they do happen,
Mhm.
and especially in the little villages.
Yeah.
So if you are an evangelical church, imagine in a little town where everyone knows each other and their parents and their grandparents. Uh, it's very difficult, even if you had just a perfect person, it's very difficult to cross the barriers
Mhm.
from one Christian denomination to another. And so it's again amazing to see what is happening through the camps as a way of crossing those barriers and reaching out to people with the good news of Jesus Christ.
Mhm.
That not even the Baptist or the Pentecostal or the Reformed Church is going to save them, but Jesus Christ died on the cross for their sins.
Mhm. Mhm. Dora, so can you please share with us what were the beginnings of the camp ministry in Romania and how you got involved?
Uh, yes, I got involved after 5 or 6 years, I think, since it started. It started right after some floodings in the southern part of Romania, and a young girl from our ministry had this idea of sending out or going out with a couple of friends over there to help the people and help cleaning and help with this logistical stuff. And also trying to do something for the kids over there, trying to gather them and have some activities for them. And this was actually the first Ambassadors Together program that happened, I don't know, maybe 12 years ago. And then 7 or 8 years ago, Ray asked me to take over as coordinator. I was very curious and interested to learn how things work beyond church via walls, and this was the thing that drew me in and wanting me to find out what's going on in different parts of our country. Um, when I started, we had about 15 teams, and the program grew. So last year we had 58. And it was uh, a very interesting journey for me to witness and be part of. It was really encouraging to see how things are growing year after year, and how more and more people are using this tool, the camps and the festivals and these VBSs and all that goes under youth and children's ministry, how God is using this in so many parts of our country, and
Mhm.
it's bearing so much fruit also.
Mhm. What does a
Uh,
typical day in a week look like for you, since you're the national coordinator?
Uh, well, you know that you texted me last week and I responded shortly on the
Mhm.
subject. And then you asked me if I'm being paid by the numbers of words I use.
Yes.
And remember that I told you that you should see the number of
Yes.
conversations I already had at 10 a.m.
Mhm.
So it's a lot of back and forth with the teams on the field, a lot of emails, phone calls, a lot of planning, and seeing through that everyone is on track with their plans. Um, it's really working with people, and it's really dynamic, and I don't have. Each day is different. And it's one of the things that I love about this job.
Mhm.
And different people reaching out on different subjects or struggle related to their ministry. It's what's keeping this dynamic and interest. Yeah.
So,
Now, you said before something about the fruit of the camps. There's a lot of fruit.
mhm.
Can you explain what kind of fruit that you're looking for, that there is?
Well, first of all, it's really encouraging to see that the kids that are benefiting from these camps are becoming leaders in a couple of years. They see their leaders become their models, and then they want to do that for the kids that are younger than them. And it's really interesting to see how generation after generation it, the interest is still there, and people are motivated, and kids are learning to do ministry since really young age, and they have this desire to talk about Jesus with their younger peers, and to um, invite the kids from their school to participate in the VBSs and in the camps. Um, so another thing, another fruit is kids and teenagers that are making radical decisions for Christ, and not just making them, but sticking to them. And in the follow-up meetings and events, we see them that their lives are really changed, and they began to surround themselves with a healthier community and with healthier friendships, and these things pulls them closer to the church and to God. And so it's it's this change that we are or looking for, and hoping for, that's happening, and we see it in each location.
Yeah,
Mhm. It's beautiful.
yeah.
Dora, so now I will ask you about challenges. So, what have been some of the largest challenges that your ministry was facing, and how have you seen God provide or guide you through them?
Challenges.
Mhm.
I think that when working with so many people, the real challenge is dealing with certain mentalities.
Mhm.
And one of them would be this mentality that if we supported them for maybe a couple of years, we are somehow responsible in supporting them year after year, no matter how many years we are talking about. So this is always something that I have to be careful with when making friends, because I made a lot of friends with these partners in our country, and I also want to be in my role, in my position, very responsible with the financial stuff, and that's why I'm I don't want to encourage this mentality of consumerism and not fighting for I don't know, doing something in your own community that supports your ministry. We also want to model this, because we as Via Church, we are supporting all the things that we are doing, and we want to help other churches do the same, and taking care of their staff, taking care of their kids, and always finding new ways in doing this, and not counting that this help will always come, and I don't have to do anything. I just have to apply for a new grant and I will receive it. It's not something we like to, yeah.
You don't want to build dependency, but
Yeah.
yeah. One question that I may be jumping the track here, but have you seen any trends, any changes take place in those 5 or 10 years, where it started off maybe more as camps away from the cities and the towns, where now more activities are in smaller towns and more where the churches are. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, when you say VBS for an American, I'd kind of like to call it a city camp, because many of the camps are really like an all-day VBS for 5 or 6 days in a row, where people eat, where people have a full-day program, but then they sleep at home.
Mm-hmm.
And they may have it at a church or at a school, but and again, it makes it a lot easier for non-Christian kids or unchurched kids uh, to have permission of their parents to be part of the program. And it seems that that's a growing trend, especially in the smaller communities.
Yes, it certainly is, because it's easier to plan a day camp in your church.
Yeah.
But what we have seen is that the most passionate of our partners, they started with doing summer camps, for example, and taking the kids into the mountains, or taking them at some cabin or something like this. And then in the next year, they added a VBS program, a day camp in their church. So the same team is doing now also a day camp and also a summer camp, because they've seen the impact and they've seen how people respond. And um, unchurched families are more open to the idea of sending them after that into a summer camp if they already seen what happened in a day camp. And so having these testimonies of parents and making them allies for the leaders team is really paying off.
Yeah. And how many volunteers are involved, and how do you recruit them, or
Well,
how do you get them?
Well, each of the locations work with their own people,
Yeah.
and they are responsible for mobilizing their volunteers. Uh, Usually, the volunteers are the bigger adolescents and also students, college students, but also mothers or fathers that have their kids in kid ministry. And this is the case of also at Via Church. We have the leaders, the main leaders are parents, are adults, people that are responsible, but we do get a lot of help from younger adolescents that are that want to be part of this. And the day camp is usually targeted for 5 to 12 years old kids. And so we have volunteers from 15 years until 50 years.
Yeah. And the day camps are the camps that are like 5 days in a row.
Yeah, 5 or 6
Yeah.
days in a row. Yeah.
I hope that I'm gonna see some of your camps, Dora, in 3 weeks, in 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Yes. What are
Yeah.
some of the recent events or milestones or kilometer stones, since you have kilometers in Romania, that you're excited to share with us?
Well, I think it would be the 10 new partners we added this year to our list.
Wow.
Um, 10 new pastors we haven't worked with before, and um, that are now interested in collaborating with us. And actually, most of them are really close by to Cluj. And so it's always beautiful to develop new friendships and
Yeah.
new partnerships.
Oh, that's huge. Yeah. 10
Yeah,
partners, that's amazing.
yeah.
Yes,
When you say
Mhm.
close to Cluj, is that within 100 kilometers or within 200 kilometers?
Under 100.
Under 60 miles.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Mhm.
yeah,
Are
yeah.
there any stories or testimonies that you would like to share with us that encouraged you lately?
Well, I think one of the feedbacks I got after Momentum conference. We also invited our Ambassadors Together partners at Momentum conference in March, and most of them came and were really excited to spend these 3 days in Cluj, learning and connecting with people all over the country. And at the end of the third day, one of the partners came to me in tears um and just began to thank me for our support. And she actually said that we were sent by God at the perfect time in their lives, um, and that we made a huge difference in these past years. And it almost came from nowhere, but it's this kind of feedback and encouragement that stirs you up and gives you hope and makes you think that God is really the one who's making all the difference, and He's just using us to in doing so. And so I think that I still cherish that moment, and I still see her face, and I hear her words, and it it's really something that gave me a lot of purpose and encouragement then. Yeah.
It's beautiful. Yeah, thank you for
Uh,
sharing.
yeah.
Mhm.
And it's an encouragement to all of us on this
Yeah.
Zoom too.
Mhm.
Yeah, I hope
So
so. I hope so.
yeah, ask if you can ask permission if you can share her picture and her quote with this group of people.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yes.
So
The time is almost up, and Dora, I
yeah.
have last two questions for you. So, what are your dreams for the ministry in Romania, or maybe beyond Romania?
Well, I think that human resources and seeing new people rising and wanting to serve the next generation with passion and enthusiasm. And it's what we are also looking through our internship program for these talented and passionate people that are willing to sacrifice and do what it takes for the kingdom's impact, you know.
Mhm. Mhm. Yes, it's beautiful. It's very helpful that you have the internship program and that you can, yeah, you can find the right people that can serve with you. Um, are there any upcoming projects or camps or initiatives that you're preparing for right now?
So the VBS at Viacher just ended yesterday. We are now preparing for the camps. The adolescents are going to camp, to summer camp, starting tomorrow. We are also already preparing for Momentum 26. And we are also planning the vision tours next year and being really excited about meeting you,
Yeah.
or some of you at least.
Yeah. How many kids did you have at the VBS?
170.
Uh-huh. Yeah. A big family. Yeah.
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 Yeah, Via Church has more than 270 kids. Yeah. And not enough space for them.
Yeah.
Dora, so how can we pray for you and for the 58 or how many camps that you're having this year in Romania?
For protection, first of all, God's protection and provision, and for the fruit I was mentioning, and we are, yeah, hoping to receive from the Lord.
Thank you, Dora. Thank you for today.
Yeah.
Yeah, we appreciate you and sharing that you're the boots on the ground in Romania and just sharing what your ministry is doing and how you're helping hundreds and hundreds of pastors and leaders all over the country. So thank you. All right. Have a wonderful Saturday, everyone.